So let's start out by going back and telling us, where did you first get your interest in music, and what set you off on your way?
Well, I was born in Cleveland, just outside of Cleveland, Ohio, a little town called Mentor. And my mother was a musician. She was a music therapist, actually, before music therapy became a thing. And when I was little, she could tell that I was able to pick out melodies and had a good ear for music when I was 2.
Oh, wow.
So she cultivated that and nurtured it in me and just made it really fun. She was an incredible teacher. She made it a lot of fun just to play. And that's still my way of approaching music. I never tell my kids to practice. I tell them to go play.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it became a life preserver for me because my dad died when I was 2. And I didn't really know how to process a lot of the grief that was in our home. There was a lot of unspoken grief. It was just like, get on to get on. My mom had 7 children. I was the baby. And we needed to get on with life in some ways. And music became my safe place. I had, 6 older brothers and sisters, a lot of activity in our house. And
were any of them musicians?
Well, my mother's motto was that we all had to study music and play a sport. So yeah, we had musicians in our family. I chose the path to go on as a performer, and my one other sister is an educator. She was teaching up in Canada for her whole life, basically, her whole professional life. She was a teacher in Canada. And then my other sister sings with the Colorado Symphony Orchestra. So
nice.
She's in the choir there. Oh yeah, they're one of the best in the world. They've got some Grammys under their belt, and I was in it for a little while when I lived out in Colorado. And they are one of the most worked amateur. One thing, I started singing harmony right away. I was raised in a Catholic school, and we have music as part of our curriculum, but we would always have to sing Mass on Fridays. So it's just part of what we did in the Catholic schools. And I was always singing harmony, and the teachers didn't understand that, like, what are you doing? You're not singing the melody. And I'm like, no, too boring. I'm going to sing the harmony. I've just always loved to harmonize. So
excellent.
They, instead, it's awesome.
They probably
I don't know
didn't
how
think
to
it was
teach.
that good, though.
No, so I was duly appointed as organist at age 11. Get her out of the choir. She's confusing everybody. And I played the organ. That was my first professional gig at age 11. And
very cool.
Never looked back. I mean, I never really had a plan B. There wasn't anything else I ever thought that I could excel at.
It's great that you had the opportunity to move forward with what you felt was your gift. That's beautiful.
And I say this to myself. I figured it out, and I tell this to the kids that I work with. I worked in special needs. I've always been around that community because my mother was a music therapist, and she worked with back then what they called the mentally retarded. It was always referred to as the mentally retarded. So I'm very comfortable with that sector of society, if you will, and love to teach kids how to find, people call it their voice. I say it's your way of making sense of this crazy world. Some are artists, some are dancers, some are musicians. We all have a response to what's going on in the world, and hopefully we can cultivate a healthy response.
And
mine was always music.
I dealt with a lot of learning disabled kids and people, in some of my other businesses not related to music, but every single one of them had some type of a talent or a skill. It was difficult to find, but once you found it, it was life-changing for them and, you know, and the people around them.
Right. I feel like it helps them in so many ways. And at a certain point, I became an advocate, like just to allow some of my students to have, like drawing, for instance. I have a great example of a student who was an excellent artist. And in order for him to process information, he had to draw. So I would tell all his teachers, you cannot take Max's sketchbook away from him. They all saw it as something that was rude and he wasn't paying attention. And I said, no. That's exactly how he pays attention.
Processes,
Yeah, that's how he processes. So I've just been a fierce advocate of that, to find it sooner than later.
That shows us a little of your heart. That's a great thing.
You know, I mean, we have to find out what helps us stay elevated in this world, because the world is pretty daunting sometimes. You know?
And every little bit to make it a better place is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I lived in New York for a little while, and then I moved to Boston. You know,
what part of New York?
Right in Manhattan. I was well, we were sort of kicking around. Here's a name drop. My friend's father was Don Imus. So we were kicking around. Well, we were kicking around the city big time. Oh yeah. I mean, it was fun, but for me it was short-lived, because I needed to get down to the nitty-gritty and start getting some work. You know, and it was a lot of fun, but I didn't have the constitution to live in New York City. I just felt like I will go unequivocally mad living in this place. I chased after. It was, and I love visiting it. I mean, we visited a lot. I moved to Boston and followed the love of my life at that time, and went to Boston, and then every chance I got, I was in New York City, either working, gigging, or just visiting.
Boston's a great city too.
Yeah, it's got its charms. It does. And I had a lot of really good work there too. I was just a professional musician, and that's all I've ever really done.
So now, as you progressed in your career, tell us some of the things that really are memories that are quality memories, either fun or career-changing, some things that really meant a lot to your career. Let's talk about one or two of those if you can.
Well, I mean, I started working for Boston Ballet, and that wasn't really on my radar at all, like to be a pianist for the ballet. But I fell in love with it. I learned a lot about having an immense work ethic from the dancers, because they are, in my opinion, they're the hardest working artists on the planet, because they don't. And what I found really fascinating was we had this mutual reverence for one another. Like, they were always mystified at how I did what I did, and I was always just in awe at how ballet dancers
have to be
boss
dedicated.
Their body around. They boss their body around. I would just laugh and I say, I just have to control 10 digits. You have to control your whole body. And that, to me, that's what made that work relation. I was there for 30 years. I was principal pianist by the time, by the full fruition of my career with Boston Ballet. And we would say that to each other. It's just, what makes that relationship so special is that I know nothing about dance other than the terminology. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
Yep.
fluent in French in the ballet room. So I can go anywhere in the world and play for any, which I have, and I've played for any company, whether it's Russian, German, Cuban, American, and the language is the same. So that much I do know. I know how to take their language and put it into my musical terms, which is, by and large, music is Italian when you're trained classically.
Right.
So we both had this just mutual fascination with one another, and there was no way that I could enter into their ring of expertise and have an opinion. I'm sorry, no way. I did whatever they needed to get their little butts off the floor. You know what I mean? And keep them
and
dancing.
vice versa, I'm sure.
And they were very respectful and very accommodating to whatever the musicians needed. We are called maestra in the ballet studios, and I always loved that. They always referred to us as the master, because that's what we were there to do, was to help them understand how to dance in the music, before they got with the orchestra. So I learned so much. I learned about how to be dedicated. The word you are throwing out there, that dedication.
Yeah.
And it just changed my perspective on what it is to be an artist.
Now, I saw that you posted a few things in Music Legacy International on the timeline in the community site.
I tried.
How about talk to us about any recordings or albums or anything that you've done in the past?
Well, my recording career started in 2012, and I did the River of Life with the Wyndham Hills. I don't know if you remember that label. That was way back in the day. Will Ackerman started Wyndham Hills with George Winston. George Winston was his big star, and I recorded with them up in Vermont with my first CD, The River of Life, and it was a wonderful experience. It was my first time ever going into a professional recording studio, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And I remember he had said to me about recording, once you release it, you really don't know what's going to happen, where it's going to take off, if it does take off, and how it will be received by the world. It's like a baby, So then it went out there, and I joined the Grammy Foundation and became a recording member of the Recording Arts and Sciences, and became a voting member and all of that, as is protocol. Yeah. And then I did my second album, which is The Tree of Life. And, I've always just kind of followed my heart with regards to what the music that I record is all about. I haven't presented it in a way that's like more commercial, let's say. I just want to do what's on my heart to do. And that's called The Tree of Life. That's available everywhere. I mean, I'm on all the platforms. And, my third CD that I just did out here in Arkansas, because I recently moved to Arkansas, beautiful place in this country. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. And I released that one digitally, which was very bizarre to me. To me, that was very bizarre. It was like giving birth to a baby, but there was no baby. There was no physical representation of what I'd done.
It's different, yeah.
And it's very different. But I thought, I'm in a new place. I'm working with a different recording studio. I worked with the local recording Crisp studio here. And then I went to Nashville and did some of the final mixing and mastering with Jeff Silverman down in Nashville. But it was just strange. It was just strange. My friend called me, and it wasn't like, number one with a bullet, but she called me and she was like, I just listened to your recording. And I was like, what? like, what recording? And she said, the one you just released. And I said, oh yeah, that's right. It was digital, because it just wasn't on my radar. I'm in a different generation. Like, I just don't go to the World Wide Web automatically,
it's
or
happening
immediately.
more and more.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's like plastic. That'll never sell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, but it's here. It's here to stay. And those are, so I've got 3 recordings. The last one is called, I love the last one I did because I did it specifically for solo piano, no vocals. The second one I had vocals. It was very experimental. I did a lot of really cool stuff. I had fun. And I think people enjoyed it. The last one is called Life.
If you stick to that, following your heart, hopefully each progressive album will get better. Hopefully.
Well, I mean, the first one was phenomenal as far as production is concerned. And my playing, I will say, because I was full-time at the ballet, I was playing 6 hours every day. So my chops were on fire. I played very well. I will say that with, the utmost of humility, because I was playing every day for 6 hours. Yeah, I mean, you're going to get better, and you're going to get strong. Yeah. So there was no doubt that. But I think it has more to do with just like, the things that I choose to write about, and the way that the music comes to me, and how I. It's just a vibration frequency. Like, we all have a different way of processing what's going on. So, my brother, God rest his soul, he was a big fan of mine, but he had a very, he had a heart-to-heart talk with me, and he was like, when I share your music, this is going to be very humbling. He said, when I share your music, I get about a 50% return. And I appreciated that. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, it can feel like a shot in the dark,
Yeah.
Like, you throw your music out there and it's like, hey, sometimes it is. It's a number one with a bullet. And sometimes it's kind of like, oh, you're languishing on the shelves of Spotify. Which,
but
don't even get me started about.
50% could be a good thing if it's in front of a lot of people.
Well, but I just appreciated his heart, because he never got to hear my 3rd album, because I told him I was working on a 3rd album, and he was like, well, Beck, how's the music going? No. It's an interesting career choice, And I was a single mom in Boston and put my daughter through college as a musician. And I'm not a star.
That's not easy to do.
But we're the working class musicians. I'm an independent, collaborative musician, and it's afforded me the opportunity to work with some great, great people. I've just been thrilled to be able to have music as a way to connect with people. I did some work with Bobby McFerrin. We opened for Average White Band, the Guess Who, and it's amazing. And that's why my future plans are to cultivate this Music City tours for people like myself who are working class musicians who want to just keep playing live and touring. That was born out of the pandemic. That was really born out of the pandemic, because I was like, there ain't no way I am going out this world with doing concerts on TikTok. Mm-hmm. I said, we have to keep this stuff alive, and I will be a person that hopefully will build a platform and a production company that allows people who may not be the 16-year-olds up and coming or the stars who are ready to retire. It's that middle ground.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a huge population of people that get very disenfranchised, and maybe they do retire to TikTok. I don't know, but that was not my cup of tea at all.
I think there's a lot of opportunities out there, and the industry is evolving, and I think there's a place for everyone, really. It's just there aren't a lot of people who are supporting that concept. That's the problem.
Right.
So as we get more people that feel like you do, involved in working together, helping each other. I mean, are you available to do piano parts? If somebody's doing an album of their own, they could contact you and say, "Hey, we'd love you to do that." See,
yes, I've collaborated. I've done collaborations from. I was out in Colorado. I lived out there for a couple years and met a woman who runs her own studio, and she's fabulous. She's worked with she worked with Ozzy Osbourne. She worked with Steve Perry. She got, I recorded some piano parts, because that's the beauty about piano, is that it really is, it's the orchestra. You can do a lot with piano, just piano. I'm not talking keyboard.
Yep.
And Seven Dust, which is a heavy metal band, wanted piano. So my friend said, Rebecca's our girl. So I went out there and laid down very, evocative, emotive piano parts for heavy metal. And then I started doing piano parts for beat makers and rappers. So I collaborate with just about everything.
Great.
Yeah, and I love it because it just shows how the universality of music is it's real.
Yeah. And it expands you. And music is amazing because it's a great stress reliever, number one, and you could really reach inside of somebody with your music. When you make that connection and somebody really appreciates what's coming out of you, and I don't mean it in a way like if I write a song, it's not like I'm working on a song. It kind of just comes from within somewhere. I can't take credit for a song for some reason.
Right.
It just
hear that.
Comes from your soul somewhere inside of you.
Michael Jackson had a saying. He's like, music is like a river. Once you get into it, you have to go with that flow.
Yeah.
And that's why, I like instrumental music. I have a saying, and I don't know if anybody else has ever said this, but this is the hill I will die on. Music goes straight to the heart, and it moves the heart. But once you put lyrics, now you go into the brain. And the brain can be tricky. That's where you get a lot of interpretive issues or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot that the brain can play tricks on us. So many times I start my programs with just instrumental music to get the hearts ready to receive.
That's a great concept.
Yeah. Well, it's tried and true. Because whenever I play, I get nothing but like very deep responses to the music. People say really cool things like, this helped me transition my mother, from life to death or whatever, like very deep and profound responses. And then when I start singing, it's always like, well, what was that song about? There's just like automatic confusion. I prefer instrumental music for that reason.
Somebody else was just telling me something similar recently.
Isn't that the truth? Lyrics have they can certainly serve a purpose of elevating a person's consciousness. But if there's any poetry involved, it can be very I don't know what the right word is. Open to a lot of interpretations. I'll put it that way.
So now, what else are you working on?
I hope I answered the question.
You did. You did. I think it's a wonderful approach to your music that you have, and I get to feel a little bit of the you, the real you, like who is Rebecca, and I get that.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that from you. It's that frequency connection,
that's
I guess.
That's good.
So,
yeah, it's been my constant companion. Music.
Anything else that we could talk about that might help your career?
Oh, well, Music City Tours is a venture that I'm starting. I just started it, and we're getting the ball rolling. I have a concert series coming up August 31st, September 1st, and September 2nd. We're doing a little, a city tour. I've got 10 artists on the bill with me. So we're going to do 3 different concerts. And these are all about remembrance because it's September. And I always feel like September is a new beginning. And in the Jewish tradition, when they celebrate the new year, it's not Happy New Year, let's go out and get stoned, or you know what I mean? It's about really taking a sober estimate of where you have been and what you want to do to go forward. So I'm doing a concert that's all about that. Like, just sit and listen to the music and remember and think about things that have changed your life. Think about things that you want to change in your life. And I just really invite the audience to open up to that and let the music heal you, because it will. You don't have to, you don't have to beg music to move your heart. It will do that, So we're starting out with that. And then in the spring, I'm going to go up to Spokane, Washington. I'm going to do the Pacific Northwest. We're doing some concerts up there. And then I got some venues on the Jersey Shore that I'm looking at. And Texas is on the map. I've got a DJ in Dallas who has been spinning my music a lot. And,
that's always good.
Yeah, so it's on my list to get down there and do a live show in the studio. And she's fabulous. She does a great job just, keeping the energy alive. Her show is very late, though, I have to say. It's the midnight hour. And so those are some places that are on my map to visit and do some tours. City tours. So when I'm talking about city tours, I try to get like 3 venues and maybe 2 or 3 other artists to be on board with me that are local, because I'm about building up the local grassroots,
Yeah, supporting
the grassroots effort. Yep, exactly. I don't know if you're familiar with Belkin Productions, but I grew up in Cleveland, and Cleveland had one of the most formidable unions, and they protected their musicians. There were some pretty
we spoke about that on the phone a little bit.
Yeah, there were some wild stories about big acts coming into Cleveland, and if they were with Belkin Productions, if they were on the bill to be produced by Belkin Productions, Belkin would say, "You're using Cleveland musicians. You're not bringing your own. And if you don't agree with that, move on." That's kind of how I feel too. I think that I guess I've got that worker spirit that we need to blossom where we're planted and help cultivate the richest of where we are. And and I've also been asked to join as a delegate a music tourism symposium down in Anguilla, which I had to look on the map. It's an island in the Caribbean, and they're very excited about the idea of obviously building up grassroots and finding the cultural niche of different cities. You know, like what would make sense to really prosper and grow here in Northwest Arkansas? I think it's a bluegrass community. There's a lot of guitar. Piano is not on the forefront, but mandolin, ukulele, guitar. So I'm out in full force looking for my people to play with, because it's just different in every culture. So I'm looking forward to being more involved in those efforts and being an advocate to build commerce, obviously, in each city, but partner that with our cultural diversity and the cultural growth.
Right. Yeah, I look forward to working with you in the future on all of these type of things. That would be a wonderful thing, because it all comes down to the musicians and the people who write the music. And unfortunately, what happens a lot of time is there's other people with their hands in the pockets of these people. And I'm not saying that, they don't deserve to be paid. They do. Everybody who does something deserves to be paid. But we need to make it so that the musician can afford to work.
Exactly.
Work at his music and not have to have 2 and 3 other jobs just to be able to do what he's, he's been
or constantly underwriting. I hear that a lot when I talk with people about being a musician on staff at like a hotel or a country club. Well, you can underwrite that position. I'm like, that's interesting. Okay. So it's not part of a budgetary mindset with people yet in certain places. Definitely in New York City and Boston, they had consortiums that were very supportive of artists and culture. And I think they understood that connection between a thriving city and cultural support, And it was very, again, it was, I take the model from Cleveland. It was very supported and not so competitive amongst each other, much more collaborative, and they were called consortiums. Like when you had the Boston Lyric Opera, Boston Ballet, Berklee College of Music, they would all feed one another. So all the artists could be culturally enriched who worked for those organizations and helped it stay alive, It can't stay alive without the artists and.
And resonate from each other's inputs.
Yes, and support each other's input.
Yeah.
Because
and
we were given. Right. I mean, for example, we were given, copacetically, we were given tickets to all these other events as artists who are creating those events. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. It's the snake eating its tail, but in a way that is culturally enriching.
And supportive.
Supportive. So I am a delegate for Sound Diplomacy. That's the name of this organization that's doing this big symposium in the Caribbean about tourism specifically. And they have an excellent article that I just read recently called The Cultural Paradox. And it's of this very thing we're talking about, that a city knows that it needs culture. If you're going to bring people to your city, you have to offer them dance, something that's enriching, Dance,
the biggest problem, I think, is that people have so many things thrown at them and on their mind that they don't have that time to
enjoy
feel for somebody else's situation sometimes, and let their situation into their realm. I guess I could have said it better, but I think you know.
No, but I totally get what you're saying, because that's exactly what I'm feeling. I'm in a new spot. So I think, what's that word? Familiarity breeds contempt. When I was in Boston for 30 years, I took a lot of things for granted, like even the cultural climate, we were always it's that saying, we always want what we don't have kind of thing. But then when I moved to Arkansas, I was really like the new kid on the block with a different pair of eyes from a different perspective. And yeah, I can't just come in and be like, oh, I'm going to change Rome in a day. That's not going to happen. And people would say, when I was getting ready to move from Boston, a lot of my, well-meaning and good friends were like, well, you're so awesome. You're going to do great there. You'll be in the arts in no time. But you want to know the honest truth? And I heard Madonna said this and Cher said this. It doesn't matter who you are, you still have to audition and you still have to prove yourself. You're always being assessed.
Yeah.
Because I might have been fabulous in Boston for what I was doing for that little niche of the world. But here in Arkansas, people are like, so what? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Well, the things that really, I tell my young artists coming up, show up on time, let your yes be yes and your no be no, and don't apologize,
Don't
if you can't
apologize
do it,
for being yourself.
It's just like, that's it. That's all. Most of the time, those are the things that I will choose to work with somebody over. If they're not on time or they just don't respond, like that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Even if it's going to be no.
Too often too.
It's so bizarre. I don't understand that. But I'm like that constant drip, the slow drip.
That's it.
I can hear back from you. I can take no as an answer. It's not going to destroy my world. You don't have to disappear just because your answer is no, I can't do this at this time. But, rewind 2 years ago when we were struggling coming out of this pandemic. I remember I did a couple radio shows, and the big thing I was struggling with back then was learning how to say no. Because I felt like if I said no, my phone was going to stop ringing, and that does tend to be a reality in artists' mindset. Like, I can't say no to anything, but really what happens is you just get burnt out.
Yeah.
And then it's the final no, no, can't do.
Just can't do. You can't do everything.
No, and that's a scary proposition for some. When we're freelance artists, we want to be able to do it all.
And that's why it's important for, like a lot of people will go to the music legacy community, and we have a lot of beginners, because it's from beginner to pro, and the beginners will post, and then some people get in there and they're like, oh yeah, this is just a thing for beginning artists. Well, it's really not. It's for all artists, because your story can resonate with somebody who's just getting started and saying, oh, I didn't look at the music business that way, or I realize how important it is to be me and to be different. And all these little things are those little stepping stones that help somebody's career move forward. And what I hope is that and I say this on almost every interview, I hope that the pros reach out to the intermediate artists and maybe give them a break by opening up for them somewhere. I hope that the intermediate artists help the beginners and help pull them up to be intermediate as well. And by supporting each other, we have a movement. Like you said earlier, it's like the flow of the river. And
yeah, I mean, that's the creative process.
Yeah. We want to be like the garden where they come to pick the fresh fruit. Maybe the Musicians Union will find some really talented people in music legacy, whatever. The thing that's important is the platform is fully searchable. So if you're touring and you need somebody in a specific city, we don't have people in every city right now because we're new and we're just growing this thing. But eventually, we already have people in 21 countries worldwide as of right now.
Oh, wow.
But that's going to continue to grow just through word of mouth like it has been, and by people seeing that we're helping musicians. That's the hope for this thing.
Do you keep track of, are most of the musicians in the Northeast region, or do you know?
Well, right now we're from coast to coast. I don't even think we're in all 50 states yet. But the thing is, we're not advertising as of yet. We're still in an early access pre-launch. So what that means is I talk to you, and then all of a sudden you say, hey, this might be something that you might want to check out. And I'm also talking to different businesses and people in and outside of the industry who have products and services that can help the artists, either by saving them money or helping them make money. And like you said before, that slow drip, when you have a leak in a faucet, if you put a pot under it, eventually one drip at a time is going to fill up that pot. So what we're trying to do is have different ways that an artist can increase their profitability, either by saving money or making money to the point where they have enough income coming in that they don't have to focus on going to a job that has nothing to do with their talent and what they want to do with their life. So when we're trying to get sponsors and people to help the artists reach that point where they have an income coming in and they could focus on their careers and move forward,
Nice.
I know I can't really get into exact details yet, but these things are happening back behind the scenes. And
I hear that.
Yeah.
Well, I would say to the community, to the music legacy, if anybody's interested in playing on one of my platforms, I would love to have them, because as I say, I'm at a stage in my life where I want to pass the torch. I'm not putting the torch out for my own self, but I want to pass the torch on to the next generation of musicians and really capture that live performance, because nothing will ever replace that. And I am saying that that's another hill I'll die on, that you cannot replace that. I don't care what anybody tries to tell you. AI is not going to replace that ever. Ever.
Well, the scary part is that it may replace part of it, but not that live performance. I don't see that happening.
I have heard so many people, from Ozzy Osbourne, who just passed away, that Britney Spears, almost every artist that you would speak to who is in a different stratosphere, live performance does something to you. If you're going to get addicted to anything, I'd say get addicted to that, because boy, those endorphins and just the connection that you feel with your audience is supernatural. It can't be replaced. No,
absolutely.
And I believe that's what gives the music soul. People have been mourning the whole AI, the advent of AI, and the death of some of these musicians who were sort of the last of their kind, like Ozzy. That band was not orchestrated or put together. It was their chemistry became that
chemistry
because they played together. It wasn't, you have to find the right chemistry. No, that chemistry was made while they were doing what they did, their passion. you know, and that's what I totally believe in. And I feel like that is kind of getting lost because so many people just create in a vacuum and they don't create with that spark of human spirit. It's just my thought.
Well put. I agree 100% on that one.
AI ain't not gonna. AI can never, ever, 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 ever feel. I don't care what anybody says. They're not able to. It's not. And there's a great meme out there right now that I love. It says, "How about AI does all my housework, cleans all my dishes, so that I can create?"
Yeah.
Because that's what we do as humans. We create. AI should not be creating. Nope. Never.
Yeah. No, it needs somebody behind it doing the creating.
No, it just needs to get out of the way.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm sorry. I just need to step aside, you know? I don't know.
So now tell everybody your website and where they could go to find out more about you and your music.
All the bits. The bits.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the first big thing it's new out the gate is Music City Tours. So it's all, you just www.musiccitytours.org. Not com. If you do com, it'll take you right to Nashville.
Okay.
Learn that the hard way.
And you're also on Bandcamp, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I am on Bandcamp. I have my link tree. I did do your Bridges network on your the page on the website on the music and I can't say the name. My brain is going too fast. Yes, Music Legacy International. I did do the bridge work.
Oh, you did?
The bridge work. No.
Yeah, the bridging tool.
I did do it. That's right.
What that does is that just helps us know where you are at in your career. And so that if there's anything that we think is helpful, we'll be able to, either get that to you or maybe recommend you for a project or somebody, like you said, you're willing to do tracks and stuff for someone?
Tracks and set up, like I said, I've got a place out on the Jersey Shore that it's a nice little intimate club. And I want to gather some artists together to do a nice program out there. See, I'm a producer. Once I get a vision, I'm never going to let it go. So for shows, that's very important, and that's what I bring to it. I've produced shows probably since I was 12. So I really I'm stubborn. That's a place where stubbornness is very important. I will not relinquish my vision to anything outside of what it is, And that vision is for those local artists to have a chance to perform live. And prayerfully, we will get the television part of it worked out. I think I spoke with you about that. Okay. To help elevate, a la Midnight Express or Don Kirshner's rock concert. So we have live concerts being televised. However they get broadcast, we haven't worked that out yet. And then for my individual artists,
have to talk more about that.
Yes, because that's a big piece. And we did it here. We did some trial runs. So this platform has been up and running. I've been doing shows and I've been getting, upwards of 12 artists working on my programs with me. So, I enjoy it. I enjoy bringing out the artistry of young folks and,
Now,
putting the older ones in line.
After you do those productions, are they on like YouTube or something that?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, that's a horse of a different color, as the saying goes. Because when I was doing them in Colorado, but I was doing them on a different platform. It was a trial platform called Zort. And it was for artists. It was experimental. So all of that stuff, the long and short of it is, I don't know where those videos are. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I have no idea where they are. Somebody's got them somewhere. But it's nothing to cry over, that's for sure, because there's more content to come, and I'm creating that as we go. I just videotape and pictures. But I was gonna say my artist page is RebeccaHarroldMusic.com.
Good.
So you can see my albums and me as an individual artist, and the things that I've collaborated with. I've
And
played
that's
in the pit.
HARROLD.
Yes. Doe Adir. Yes. HARROL do. Yeah, and I mean, stuff like this, like what you're doing, really, it gives me a lot of encouragement, and it bolsters my spirits, because
And what you're doing does the same for me. I can't wait to further this conversation more, even after.
It's a hard knock life. You know what I mean? It's a hard knock life for us. It's a hard knock life, you know. But there was never any other option for me, other than maybe design. I have my certification in Feng Shui.
Oh, really?
And I've
so
gone
that
to my
type of
friends.
design.
Yeah, I go to my friends' houses, and just for a freebie, I'll do a little Feng Shui. That's it. You know? And it's very simple. I'm not talking about knocking down walls or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just, Feng Shui is about gathering and moving energy. And I really love that principle. It's very simple. It's simple. And some people think, oh my gosh, you know, it's so complicated. It really isn't. It's not. And especially when you Americanize it, leave it to our rugged sense of individualism. Americans take Feng Shui and we change it to what works in our society.
And it comes back to that flow.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah.
It does. And you can establish that flow anywhere. It doesn't matter if you got a broom closet in New York City or a mansion in Bel Air. It's all about the flow and realizing how that affects you. You know, all of that vibration frequency affects your ability to create, or your ability to delegate. All of that. All of that and more.
Now, I really think this is a great interview. I love that. I love what we did so far, and I look forward to what we're going to do together with this. I really hope we can do something together.
I do too.
Let's talk more about your tours and what you're looking for as far as musicians, and just something that I want to mention about Music Legacy is you have your profile there. Yeah. Anything that you put on your profile, on every page of Music Legacy is a search area that people can search what they're looking for, whether it's an instrument, a talent, a skill, sound, photography, video, whatever it is. And if you have that in your profile, it's going to come up in a search. So people will have the possibility of finding you for a project they're working on or getting involved in one of your projects. Well, thanks so much.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you and talk to you. And let's definitely talk about the things that you're doing with this traveling, the shows.
Music City Tours, yeah.
Music City Tours.
MCT, not MTV, MCT.
So maybe we could get MLI and MCT together somehow.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not even going to put those letters together because that gets a little racy. Think about it. Uh-oh. All right. No.
Thank you so much. And let's talk again soon.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
Tony.
you.
We'll see you.
Music Legacy International.